And I never will forget this. We went down there, and I'd been around TV stations, and of course I was already in radio at that point by 2 or 3 years. But we went and watched them do the 6 o'clock news live, and the anchor person was a guy named Nick Miller, and I don't think he lasted in the market very long. Very talented guy. He just went on somewhere else. And we're standing there, watching them do, the news and sports and weather and everything. And he says, that's our broadcast. We'll see you tonight at 11. CBS News is next. Good night, everyone. And then, you hear the director and the camera, all right, we're clear. And he gets up and he walks away from the desk, and he's got a sport coat on and a jacket on, but he's wearing shorts as he walked away from the desk. And I just remember thinking then, because I was always been a news geek. I was always watching TV news when I was like 6 or something. I was like, it's all been a lie.
A few shows ago, someone said, where's Hoppy's music?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Well,
you don't have to do that. It's okay.
Oh no, I'm doing it because it's not the same song.
Oh really? You have a new song?
Someone submitted this song.
Oh, I hadn't heard.
We got a Hoppy song?
Can you hear it without headphones?
I can.
Okay.
That's all right. Just go ahead and play it. I'm sure it's wonderful.
This is the opening to Hoppy's Obvious Observations. He's hearing it. Brad's hearing it for the first time. Let's do this.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
He's hearing it, and Brad's hearing it for the first time. How is your hearing?
I'm sorry, what?
Here we go.
He's got thoughts that sound brand new, but they're things we already knew. He's got his lip balm ready, heaven knows. Let's make it quick before his bladder blows. It's Hoppy's obvious observations.
Hoppy, take it away with your obvious observations.
Oh, and Ryan, we talked about this without you on the air yesterday, that you supposedly had the inside track to all the good candy for maybe to stash some of the stuff for us.
Only after Trick or Beat.
Right. Ryan finds where it is after.
I don't mess with the candy supply, but in that brief period where there's candy in the building between Trick or Beat and the Christmas parade,
right,
I try to keep tabs on where it is.
Well, so have you located this?
No.
Give him time. That's what I'm saying. Give him time.
Okay.
Right. It's like a treasure hunt every year.
I most of the time it's in the room off to the side of the front desk, but sometimes it's been in like supply closets up in the second recording studio near the MetroNews.
So sometimes like in the back of the toilet, in the reservoir. He's found them everywhere.
So when you find this candy, you'll remember your old pal Dave.
No.
And your immediate supervisor, Coop, correct?
Coop, yes. Yeah.
Huntington, you know who they play? Sevier County, Tennessee.
That's exactly
They've already
right,
played one of the best teams in Tennessee in the opener. It's their only loss so far. This is also one of the best teams in the state of Tennessee. So I don't know what they're going for, a CFP playoff spot or what they're trying to do down there in Huntington, but they're challenging the heck out of themselves.
Does it ever feel like 24 years? Do you ever sit back and think it feels like, sometimes I can't believe it's been 24 years, and I just think it feels like it's been a lot less.
And then there's other times I think, it's only been 24 years?
Yeah, same thing.
I would love to go back, and I don't think I have I know I don't have any way to doing it.
No, I don't want to go back and hear the first show.
I would.
I would too.
I would love to go back and hear show number 1 of year number 1. We had different producers. We weren't on video.
Right.
A lot of things have changed over 24 years. But yeah, sometimes I think I'd like to go back and say, you guys never got any better at all.
So
as he approaches the tee and blasts one, a low line drive. It's going to be Tyler on the return now. And Tyler up the middle, trying to break a tackle, gets outside, look out, another big play, Tyler down the sideline, he will score, touchdown Frankfurt, they answer right back.
I drove home one night, it was around 11:30 on a Sunday night, and I said, you know what, I've been doing this, and I'm tired of doing it. And I felt the program was slipping. I just felt, hey, you know what, it's time for a younger guy. People said, did I miss football? I was busy and I didn't miss it. No, I missed Saturday. I'd go to the game and, I'd just sit up there and kind of wish I was going to do this or that. But I didn't miss all day Sunday. I didn't miss all day Monday and all that preparation.
5, 3.
Red 57! Red 57! Hot, hot!
I don't believe what I just saw. Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sports Line. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
And we welcome you in. It is Sunday night's Sportsline on the air on this 24th day of May, 2026. As we're rolling through the month of May, Travis and Craig with you here on this baseball Sunday night's Mountaineer baseball team about to discover their fate, at least hosting a regional coming up in less than 2.5 hours from now, as the Mountaineers, of course, fell in the Big 12 title game out in Arizona last night to the Jayhawks of Kansas, as West Virginia falls by the count of 9-0, finishes the regular season and Big 12 conference portion of the season at 39-14 on the year. And now the wait begins. The regional hosts will be announced tonight at 8:30, full bracket tomorrow at high noon. But, of course, West Virginia, nothing to worry about tomorrow. So the drama is essentially going to climax tonight for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Hopefully there's no drama at all for West Virginia tomorrow. It's just a matter of the exact wins and who the opponents will be. And I think almost everyone now believes, after winning a couple of games in the Big 12 tournament, despite falling last night, that West Virginia is safely locked into one of the 16 regional hosting sites. As you said, NCAA social media will put out those 16 hosts, not the whole bracket, just who's going to host this evening. And then we'll find out the further details for the tournament, which is going to start on Friday. We'll find that out tomorrow starting at noon. There will be a selection show. I think one of the ESPNs will carry that tomorrow at noon, and you'll find out all the other details.
Yeah, and as you said, limited bracketologies in baseball, not like basketball where there's a ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
Although bracketology on ESPN is the one that most is looked at, but College Baseball America is basically the ESPN bracketology for college baseball. And not only do they have West Virginia hosting, but not even really on the bubble to host. They have them as the 14th overall seed, ahead of Oregon as a 15 seed and ahead of Arkansas as a 16 seed. So as of their latest bracket earlier today that they posted, they have West Virginia hosting, of course, with Mississippi State, the Citadel, and South Dakota State all coming to Morgantown. And historically, when you look at, much like bracketology, it's a complete guess as to the teams that are eventually going to end up in your region. That's where the guessing part really comes in.
Yeah, and again, you referenced men's basketball, and we've seen that. A lot of times they'll get the seed lines right, but the exact opponents as you go through our guesswork, and I think that's probably the same we'll see. The seed line for West Virginia will be pretty close, but then exactly who will ultimately be in that 4-team region, wait and see how that works. There's, a set of 2 seeds, a set of 3 seeds, and a set of 4 seeds, and each one of those will be assigned to the Morgantown region and go from there. But like you said, maybe a little drama tonight just because it's only happened 2 prior times in West Virginia history that you can't just always sit and take things for granted. But and we've seen West Virginia, certainly in men's basketball a couple of years ago, get snubbed completely. So when you're dealing with the selection committee, I guess you never can be 100%. But everyone that is involved in this believes West Virginia is safely in. Actually, they thought they were safely in even before the Big 12 tournament, and then West Virginia went out there and won 2 in Arizona before losing last night. And game last night, I mean, a tough 7th inning. I mean, West Virginia had offensive struggles, but that's still very much a competitive ball game through 6.5, 2-0 lead for the Jayhawks. But then KU explodes with 6 runs in the 7th and puts that game on ice.
Yeah, I stopped counting, but I think West Virginia had 5 runners on third base at one time, and could not get them 90 feet to get that first run across. And who knows? You had an opportunity, bases loaded twice with no outs. You take a 4-2 lead in that game. Maybe momentum switches and things play out a little bit differently, but they didn't, and just could not get that timely hitting. And we've seen that from this team a couple of times this season, probably more than a handful of times this season. And Greg, if there's, we know the bullpen is a worry for this team as you get into postseason play. I think the other worry has been at times this team has been a little soft with the bat in the middle of the order. Or in the late of the order, but particularly in the middle of the order.
Yeah, fair. And some of that raised its head yesterday. Like I said, really started in the first inning. West Virginia had first and third with 1 out, and Sean Smith hits into a double play that ends that inning. First and third in the second inning with 2 outs, can't get anybody home. And then, as you said, a couple innings later in successive innings, West Virginia has the bases loaded, including once with 1 out, and can't get a run home. So it was just one of those days. And again, that's baseball, especially in a single elimination tournament. You fail in some opportunities, and that's what ultimately haunts you. Will be double elimination once you get into the regionals, in the super regionals, and the College World Series as well. But we'll see if West Virginia's offense can be a little bit more consistent. There have been times this year it's been very good, but pitching typically has been good. Everybody has a couple of reliever problems in college baseball, but for the most part, West Virginia's pitching's been really good. Its defense has been really good, and its offense needs more consistency, but often has been good, but sometimes has been lacking.
Yeah, and you just need luck. We couldn't get any luck last night at all. Kansas made 2 outstanding plays, and then the other one that comes to mind was West Virginia hits a scorcher to first base. Yeah. Just a great catch by the first baseman.
Ends up in a double play.
Yeah, that thing's 5 inches to the left, and all of a sudden, it's at least a double, and you're getting a couple of runs.
Yeah. So that's the game. So we'll see. And again, can't wait to see what the atmosphere will be like at Ken Kendrick Family Ballpark this coming weekend for the regionals. Certainly was there the last time West Virginia hosted in 2019. And even though West Virginia did not win and had one of the most heartbreaking losses in baseball history with a grand slam home run by Texas A&M to send West Virginia packing, but that atmosphere was unreal, and I would imagine this one is going to be very, very close. I did not cover the 55 series when West Virginia last hosted the other time it hosted a regional. Can't imagine. I've looked that one up. Played Wake Forest. It was just a best-of-3 series then. Lost the decisive game to the Demon Deacons when they scored a run in the bottom of the 9th to win it. So that must have been a heartbreaker as well. So West Virginia knows heartbreak when it's hosted regionals, but we'll see. It should be very exciting.
Yeah, weather looks good for this coming weekend. Again, we're 5-6 days out, but still very low rain chance. 80 on Friday. 75 on Saturday, 6% chance of rain right now on Friday, 13% on Saturday. So looks good, even dry right through Sunday.
So better than this weekend.
Yeah, well, we got all the rain out of the way this weekend. There's still flood watches in most of the state, even heading into tonight. One note on that bracketology, if you had watched here in the last week or so, 10 days or so, they had placed Pitt here in Morgantown.
I've seen that in one or two of those.
Yeah, but now Pitt is one of the last 4 teams out, according to the College Baseball America bracketology.
We'll see what the bubble ultimately does for the Panthers, obviously. Pitt's had a decent season, but their highlight was their 23-1 victory over the Mountaineers in Morgantown a month or so ago. So they'd love to come back, I guess. But as West Virginia saw against Kansas, Mountaineers just swept Kansas and 3 in Lawrence. That doesn't automatically ensure the next time around it's going to go the same way.
Yeah, and I think at this point, if Pitt gets in, probably not in Morgantown because their seed is going to be too low to be the second team here with West Virginia garnering the 14. They'll end up on the first line most likely.
And I don't know how the baseball selection goes. I know in basketball, men's basketball, they try to avoid repeat games as early in the bracket as possible. So I'm not certain that was realistic to begin with, but we'll see. If it happens, it happens. Go from there.
All right, so again, 8:30 tonight, no show. It's just put out on social media, and if you follow any WVU account that retweets news, you'll see it as soon as the information
we'll have
comes
it
out.
at Blue Gold News. I'm sure Joe or Greg Carey will have it at MetroNews. So anybody and everybody will have that one.
Yeah, it'll be out very quickly, and then ticket information should be announced possibly tonight, if not tomorrow.
Yeah, they actually put those on sale tentatively last week on a sort of a TBA basis. So. Those were going out to season ticket holders and MAC members at that point in time. If there are any left available to the general public, certainly they'll add that to the
I remember 2019 there wasn't many, and then it became standing room only, right?
Yeah.
That's what I recalled as well. All right, so to set the stage for tonight, we've got a few things going on. First and foremost, we will hear from Steve Sabins and Ian Korn postgame from last night. Also, Ren Baker did his State of the Athletic Department address with the media a few days ago. We'll listen back to a good portion of that coming up in our second hour as well. We're going to be joined by Joe Mercado, the aforementioned, 6:30 tonight. Got a lot of things going on. State track meet just wrapped up yesterday. State softball tournament is now a 2-week affair, and it will kick off on Wednesday at Little Creek Park in South Charleston. He'll preview that. Baseball, we've already had some teams qualify already for the state baseball tournament. The rest will continue with the regional opportunities that are going on tomorrow. I believe there's some teams playing tomorrow, so got some opportunities tomorrow for teams to qualify. And, of course, it'll continue into the first of the week. But the state baseball tournament begins coming up here in a couple of weeks. Begins on Saturday, a week from Saturday is when that is. Of course, at its new location, Jack Cook Field in Huntington. So Joe will join us at 6:30 to preview all of that and get you all covered on that as well. We'll take a break. Text rolling in, 304-TALK 304. Sportsline underway on the Sunday night.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
I'm Sergeant R.A. Marsh.
And this is Trooper Goodman with the West Virginia State Police.
When working traffic across West Virginia, responding to crashes involving death or injury is the toughest part of our job.
Around here, we're experts at survival, so we know the importance of buckling up.
When you don't buckle up,
you increase your risk of dying in a crash.
Why do we enforce seatbelt laws?
It's not about writing tickets, it's about saving lives.
Come on, West Virginia, we can do this. Please, always buckle up.
A message from the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Sportsline continues. Welcome back, 623. Coming up here in just a bit, the all Power 4 conferences have released now their money situation and payouts from this past year. So we'll get into that. Got the numbers for you coming up. See how they compare. Texter. Do some text in this segment. Joe will join us at 6:30. Chuck from Charleston writes in, WVU deserved to lose. Never seen a team get so many runners on base and couldn't get them in. Felt sorry for Corn. No support at all. And Kansas was not throwing their best pitcher, says Chuck from Charleston.
And pitcher sort of managed his way through a lot of tough situations. Give the Jayhawks credit for that. But, yeah, I mean, West Virginia had plenty of opportunities and couldn't take advantage of those, and I thought Ian Corn pitched really well. He gave up a home run and then a solo shot early and then a later single run, but for the most part, guy who had pitched just a couple of days before in relief, making a start and going pretty deep into the game, I thought he was pretty good.
Mike in Morgantown writes in, I thought as the game wore on, with the bases loaded, frustrations mounting, the late game surge by Kansas was a result of WVU pressing. What is your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know what you think, but probably. I mean, all of a sudden, it was back-to-back home runs by the Jayhawks. I mean, it always feels inevitable. I don't care what sport. When you feel like you have opportunities and you squander those, more often than not, it feels like you don't get those chances again, and then it just haunts you.
Yeah, against a good team.
Yeah.
The thing about Kansas was they played clean, and that's they won the league regular season for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't going to give you a run. Greg and Lake Norman, let's hope there's nobody on the selection committee that's getting ready to retire, has put a deposit down on a new boat, and is counting a big bonus for their team hosting to pay for it. Well, I don't know what you're speaking of.
We don't have to worry about North Carolina's Bubba Cunningham because the Tar Heels are way up on the pecking order of this year's baseball tournament. They will not supplant West Virginia in a bubble situation.
Yep.
They're pretty good, and maybe they're a team you could see in a super regional round again.
Terry from Morgantown, expecting WVU to beat a really good Kansas team 4 straight times might be asking a little too much. Kansas has a good chance to make Omaha. WVU fans should be proud of this team. P.S. Thank you, Randy Mazey, for everything you left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, anytime you get to a conference championship, you want to, as you said, those opportunities are limited.
Yeah.
So you want to make the most of it.
Absolutely.
Understand that.
You've been to the conference championship game 3 times, and you have yet to win one. So that's always the desire.
Yeah, and certainly, bigger picture though. We talked about this a little bit last week. The expectations on this team, and the questions about this team coming into the season. This has been a terrific year.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, more than terrific year.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, we keep comparing it so much to basketball, but it is so much like basketball in a lot of ways in that, you quickly turn around and forget what the conference tournament implications were. Because remember, last year, West Virginia did not do well in the conference tournament when it was at Globe Life Field in Arlington. In either of those, but they then got into the NCAAs and made runs to the super regionals, which were the first 2 times that's happened in school history. So it's remembered as very positive seasons, despite some struggles in the Big 12 tournament. We'll see. This year you did much better in the Big 12 tournament, but if you don't make the super regionals, some people are going to turn around and say, "Oh, you know what? There's some disappointment." I'm not saying that getting to the NCAA tournament should be thought of as just commonplace, because it's getting there for WVU, but it used to be really unique.
Yep, certainly. All right, Texter, 2 questions. Single elimination question mark. I'm assuming you're speaking of the regions.
No, double.
Yeah, it's double from here on out. Also, what connection does the color guy on radio have to WVU? I'm assuming you're speaking of WVU's radio color. That's Jake Wedhorst. He's a former coach here, right?
Yeah, and lives in Morgantown. I think he played baseball at Baylor.
Yeah.
So
there you go. There's your answer. 628, Joe Bro on deck when we return.
Days, evenings, weekends, and holidays. You can't predict when you'll get sick or hurt. But WVU Medicine Urgent Care is prepared to help when you do. Our team treats minor illnesses and injuries and performs services like on-site lab and imaging, vaccinations, and sports physicals. WVU Medicine is ready to assist you and your family when life happens. To find the closest location near you, visit wvumedicine.org/urgent care.
Answering a text or phone call while driving seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
What does it mean to lead in medicine? J.W. Ruby Memorial Hospital is the top hospital in West Virginia, nationally recognized for 3 programs and 18 procedures and conditions. But to us, leadership means being first in care, in lives saved, in lives restored. In medicine, we lead in the ways that truly matter.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the road.
Download MetroNews Television on your iPhone or Android. Search MetroNews Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
All right, 6:32. Let's get you all prepped and ready for the end of the prep season as we are quickly winding down 25-26. State track meet concluded yesterday at Laidley Field. We've got softball. Week 1 of 2 begins on a Wednesday. Second week to follow with AAA and Quad A, and then it's kind of a track. Because it's a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
The new look state baseball tournament will begin in all its glory with 8 teams and 4 classes now. And that begins again a week from Saturday down in Huntington. And Joe Bro will be in attendance for all of it, as he was this weekend in the capital city. Joe, good evening, sir.
88 games of state softball and baseball. Yes, we are getting mentally prepared as we speak.
It's going to be something. I mean, it's thinking about packing today. I was like, I don't know if I got enough clothes. I mean, as much as I'm going to be gone here without coming home.
Imagine Joe. He's had another weekend down in the Kanawha Valley. Yeah. So, Joe, go through every single event in track. And
off
tell
the
us,
top of your mind, please.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you want me to take the rest of the show and just not have the commercial breaks? Okay.
Yeah, we'll rejoin you next Sunday.
Yeah, when you're finished. What was the highlights, though, to you from track?
Yeah, to put a bit of a quicker bow on it, obviously the story was this is the first 4-class edition of the State Track and Field Championships, and this is an event that's grown rapidly. It wasn't that long ago when this was a 2-class event, but now they have 4. And an exciting finish on the boys' side in Class Quad A, where Huntington and Morgantown shared the title. There is no tiebreaker in a track and field competition, so teams end tied in points. That's the way it ends. It came down to the final event, the 4x400-meter relay. Huntington had a 2-point deficit to make up on Morgantown. They finished second in that event. The Mohegans finished third, so that made up the deficit. So an extra trophy has to be crafted for the state champions there. Elsewhere on the boys' side, Doddridge County defended their title in Class AA. In Class AAA, Point Pleasant also defended their championship, and Wahama won in Class A. On the girls' side, Huntington, Greenbrier East, Williamstown, and Wheeling Central all won championships. Williamstown has one of the best dynasties in the state. They have won 7 consecutive state championships spread over a couple of different classifications, but 7 consecutive state titles for the Yellow Jackets.
Joe, give my alma mater a little bit of credit here. Did I see it's the first time that they have won even a piece of the state track meet in boys in like 60, 70 years?
I believe it's 1940, and if I say that, then I'm going to be corrected at some point, but I believe certainly a lengthy gap in titles. And interestingly enough, that year they shared the title with Huntington. So amazing lineage and history putting that together.
So 86 years from now, we can write it down. Those two schools will share again.
Yep, that's
that is
right.
safe. Yes.
That's right. Joe, not to put you on the spot here, but I know there were a couple of outstanding individual performances as well. There was a young lady from Greenbrier East, I think, that stood out, and also there's a young distance runner from Herbert Hoover that's really turning heads, right?
Yeah, Mason Fletcher continues to impress, and she won all three of her individual events in the 800, the 1600, and the 3200. And as I mentioned on Friday when I was on the show, she's attracting a national profile as well. I mean, she was invited to compete in and competed very well in the Penn Relays back in April, which is a national college and high school meet. So certainly Mason's profile is rising as her prep career continues. And you mentioned Annie Whitehead from Greenbrier East, and the Spartans were as dominant as you could be in winning the AAA title on Saturday. But Whitehead set a new state record in the 200. She also won her other two sprint events in the 100 and the 400. So certainly those were two of the standout performers in the meet on the girls' side.
What about the boys' side? Anybody of note before we move on to softball?
Yeah, I mean, you had a couple of triple winners. Sissonville had an outstanding sprinter win 3 races. Amos Kimball from Tyler Consolidated, an outstanding distance runner, won all 3 of his individual races. And I know there's a couple other athletes that won 3 events. But, I think if you're pointing to 2 performances that really stood out on the girls' side, Mason Fletcher and Annie Whitehead probably were the two the dominating performances that were of particular note.
All right, very good. We leave the track. We head to the dirt /turf of Little Creek Park for softball. And again, this is another new format here. We're kind of rolling out new formats here in all these final sports. But softball is retooled. Right, there's now more teams coming and still keeping the double elimination format.
So we will have 32 teams make their way to Little Creek Park in South Charleston over the course of the next 2 weeks. So Wednesday to Thursday, we'll have the small school teams, the Class Single A and Class AA teams make their way to South Charleston. Next week, the large school teams, Tuesday to Thursday next week, in Class AAA and Class Quad A will make their way there. So, yeah, you're talking about obviously a large expansion in the format of the state tournament. With a 4-team state tournament in each class, you would have a maximum of 7 games between 6 and 7. Now you're looking at 14 or 15 games in each class. So there's obviously a tremendous expansion in the number of teams that get invited, but also the number of games that are played. So we're interested to see how this is all going to play out the first time around, but this is something that the coaches requested, and we'll get a first-hand look at it starting this week.
So, Joe, quick synopsis and breakdown of the softball events for this week. Logan, number 1 seed in AA. Wahama, number 1 seed in Single A. But it looks probably pretty close, according to your voting so far this year, for others. So is it predominantly favored by the top seeds, or would you be at all surprised if guys or teams lower down on the rails get opportunities and win this thing?
No, I certainly wouldn't be surprised to see a team that may be a 4, 5, or 6 seed win this. I think there's enough depth in each class to certainly have that now. In all 4 classes, you have the defending state champion has once again qualified for the state tournament. Winfield, the 3-time defending champion in Class AAA. Cabell Midland, last year's Class Quad A champion. But if you want to focus on the games that we've got coming up this week in Class AA, you have Oak Glen, the defending champion, and they have an interesting first-round matchup as they're going to compete in the 4-5 game against their regional rivals from Weir High School. And those schools have a fantastic rivalry, and Weir made a great run to the final day of the state championship a year ago. Class A, the seeding was very interesting because I think the coaches really looked at Wahama being the number 1 seed. Their strength of schedule was probably the best amongst all the teams that did qualify. Wahama was the runner-up a year ago. They are the number 1 seed with a 22-11 record, but if you're looking at the seeds 1 through 5, all the records are pretty similar. You do have the number 5 seed in Pendleton County. They were the champions a year ago, winning their first state title. So to answer your question, Greg, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised to see somebody that may not be a 1, 2, or 3 seed make a great run and play for the championship.
All right, so the seeds are up, matchups are up. Fun gets underway on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Knock on wood. Weather also looks good for this week in Charleston, so hopefully we can get 3 days worth in just 3 days, and then get ready for next week. Just quickly on baseball, a reset where we are, Joe. I know that some teams have already qualified, not a lot, but some have already qualified for the state baseball tournament. More regionals coming up tomorrow and Tuesday as well for what is a new format for baseball.
Yep, new format for baseball now with the first edition of the 8-team state tournament. So an event that a couple of years ago was 3 classes and 4 teams in each class, and you would have a 3-day state tournament in which 9 games will be played. We'll now have 28 games played over the course of 8 days in Huntington at Jack Cook Field. But to answer your question, Travis, about who has qualified so far, so of the 32 available spots, 10 have been secured. St. Albans was the most recent to lock up a spot. They did so on Friday night. The other teams that have already done so, East Hardy, George Washington, Morgantown, Hurricane, the defending champion in Class Quad A, they have qualified. Lincoln, Logan, Ripley, the defending AAA champion, they are headed back to the state tournament. Also, Shady Spring and Sherman have qualified as well. East Hardy, I should say, the defending champion in Class A. So tomorrow is going to be a big day because there's lots of these regional brackets that have kind of been held up by weather, but as many as 13 spots could be won tomorrow if the weather allows. So we can probably start filling in a lot more of the available state tournament spots tomorrow with games throughout the day.
So, Joe, we're finding out those that are qualifying. What about sort of the opposite side of that same question and coin in terms of anybody that's gotten eliminated to this point that maybe surprised you a little bit?
I mean, you still have all the defending champions that are in play. So I don't think there's been a team that really stood out, and it was surprising that they were knocked off as quickly as they were. And again, some teams do have some work to do. They may have to fight their way out of the losers bracket and win up to 3 more games to get to the state tournament. So the road may be difficult for some of those teams, but no major surprises or nothing that immediately has stood out.
Final question with baseball. I know we're going to talk a ton about pitching because that was the one big question going into this expanded field. Would teams, particularly the smaller schools, what kind of arms would they have available by the time they got to Saturday? Spacing, though, is to their advantage, at least in single A. But the more pressing question is, you mentioned all these teams that have already qualified for the state. Some more could happen tomorrow if the weather allows. Talking for some of these teams, 10, 11 days off before they play in Charleston. I know that's already started some rumbling that the maximum number of games should be expanded in future years. Are you hearing anything also on that front from teams you've talked about, worried about the too much time off?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, some of the teams that were the first to qualify, I know Morgantown, I think, was one of the first to do so. So they were the first to qualify, and they will be the last to take the field because they'll take the field on the 4th day of the state tournament. So they will have a 20-day break in between the end of regional play and the start of the state tournament. Now, in Morgantown's case, head coach Pat Sherrill has 2 games still to play. They didn't schedule to the max of 32 regular season games. So if you have games that you didn't play during the regular season up against the max, you can schedule those at any time against another state tournament qualifier. So a lot of teams will be doing that. But, in the case of Bridgeport, and Bridgeport still has to defeat Elkins tomorrow to get to the state tournament, but it's been such a good weather year. They had 32 regular season games scheduled and 32 were played. So they're going to face a lengthy gap against without a competitive situation. So I would imagine that's going to be something that's going to be looked at in the future. Can you extend the 32-game limit, give each team that qualifies for the state tournament 1 or 2 more games that they can add to their quote-unquote regular season schedule, I think that's probably a reasonable request that can be granted as we go forward with this format.
You mentioned Bridgeport a second ago. We had their coach, Robert Shields, on a few weeks ago as he was getting ready for his 1,000th career victory. What's his career count now?
So
I think 1,004 maybe?
4 or 5.
Like that, 4 or 5,
I believe.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So he was able to, since you guys talked to him, they were able to win 2 consecutive games, so there was no Sports Illustrated jinx involved or any. They were able to take care of business over the next 2 games after your great interview with Coach Shields on that Friday night.
That's right. No Sportsline jinx here. Very good. All right, Joe, pack up. We'll see you down in Little Creek on Wednesday.
Yes, I'm buying socks as we speak because I do not have enough to survive.
Sounds good. All right, Joe Mercado, Metro News Sports. Again, he'll have the Mountaineer story at 8:30 tonight once we find out if West Virginia is hosting.
They do have stores down in Charleston and Huntington that would be happy to sell you any kind of, undergarments or apparel that you may need.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so give you the lay of the land on our coverage. We've got radio coverage of all the state softball games, and those are available on your Metro News local Metro News affiliate, or you can listen also to the games at wvmetronews.com. State baseball will have all the run-up games on radio. Actually, all the games on radio. The run-up games on the radio, and then all 4 state championship games will be available free on the Metro News television app coming up on June the 13th, we hope, if we stay on schedule.
So that's why the Metro News people are going to be very, very busy.
Very busy. Yep, we got a lot of ball to play here over the next couple of weeks.
How many people are involved in all this coverage?
Well, I mean, softball, it's a little more. We got so softball, we basically, because the games are so quick, and you've got 2 fields. We've got Fred Persinger, senior and junior, on one field, and then we've got Luke and Kyle Wiggs on the other field. So you have to be related,
father, son,
to one of the families to get on that broadcast. And of course, Joe and Greg have all the coverage. I'm just there in an engineering standpoint, so you won't hear me on the air.
In case Kyle starts yelling at Luke over something he did when he was 7,
I'll step in.
Yeah, then I'll referee.
I will referee any family fights.
Yeah,
that take place. Yeah, and then baseball we add in. Daniel Woods comes in. Chris Lawrence comes in as well to that coverage. Who am I forgetting? Dave Wilson comes in for baseball as well. So.
Not to just toot the company horn, but there's a great deal of depth in this company when it comes to people who do that.
We don't have any bullpen issues here.
I am not one of those, but those that you do have are very, very good, and you got a lot of them.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's certainly going to be something new for us as well, because it's going to be a grind. There's no question. All right, 49 past. We'll clean up the text when we get back. Again, we've got post-game from baseball coming up, and about an hour and 40 minutes to find out at 8:30 tonight if the Mountaineers are hosting a baseball regional. More Sportsline continues after this.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
What do you know about hot dogs? Because we've been all about hot dogs this week.
I love hot dogs, and I love them with Miracle Whip.
Oh, God, I forgot. Never mind.
And onions.
Okay.
I actually, yesterday morning, I had a hot dog for breakfast at 6:45 with onions and Miracle Whip.
And with that, we'll be back right after this.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
By the way, I'm really happy to talk about this as opposed to Ryan's opinion that being a sports fan is a bad thing.
He said that it kept him from being stressed about it, not that it was a bad thing, that they didn't have the stress. And, I mean, I've seen you pace.
Yeah, you're only 30 and you look like that.
So true. So
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
All right, welcome back. 6:53 on the Sportsline on the Sunday nights. Travis and Greg with you till 8 o'clock. 304-TALK, 304-807-6555 is our telephone number. USA Today, this is where I got that story on the numbers.
I did see that. It's interesting.
Each of the 4 Power 4 conferences in college sports have filed their latest annual tax forms with the IRS, providing detailed insight to how much they compare financially after another round of realignment and increased television money. Big Ten is king, $1.47 billion in revenue for the fiscal year of 2025. That's followed by the SEC at $1.11 billion. After that, the ACC received record revenues of $826.5 million, fueled by $588 million in television money from ESPN and expanded reach of the ACC network. It was also a record year for the Big 12, $610.9 million after adding 4 new members. But just to give you again kind of the pecking order there, you know, you've got the 2 kings and then everybody else not close. 1.4 billion, 1.1 billion drops down to 826 million, and then 610 million for the Big 12. Numbers reflect a consolidation of power in the 2 wealthiest leagues after they weakened the Big 12 and Pac-12 by taking their top brands. The SEC added Texas and Oklahoma. Big Ten took USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington from the Pac-12 that same year. To show how the leagues compare, USA Today Sports assembled the following key metrics for the Power 4 leagues in the the Pac-12, including their revenue, distribution to members, and commissioner pay. Comes from tax forms in the most recent year available, the first year since the Big Ten and SEC expanded. Total revenue for the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12, and Pac-12. Big Ten, 18 members, $1.47 billion. So that's basically the same numbers. Pac-12, by the way, if you're wondering where they slide in with basically holding the things together with chewing gum and snot. Pac-12, $111 million. So, again, Big 12, 610. You drop to 111 for the Pac-12.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's this is how it breaks out. Big 10, not including new members, Oregon and Washington, members receive 46 to 48 million. SEC, with the exclusion of the newer members, Oklahoma and Texas, who are on the stair step, they'll receive 2.6 million. Meanwhile, the rest of the members are 12.1 million. ACC, 42.8 million, not including back up SEC. I told you wrong. SEC schools are getting 70 million. Oklahoma's getting 2.6. Texas is getting 12.1. Again, they'll all even out to the full amount in time.
Here soon. Mm-hmm.
ACC, 43 million, not including Notre Dame or new members Cal, Stanford, and SMU, which they all receive in the area of 17 to 23 million. All right, Big 12, 37.9 million is what is due to West Virginia, not including new members BYU, Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati. They'll all receive in the area of 19 to 23 million. Pac-12, now here's what's interesting. Pac-12, you got to remember, this last fiscal year, they only had technically 2 members.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, it's a pretty good financial windfall for Oregon State and Washington State. So kind of a consolation, one-year consolation prize. 29 million each. So not bad.
Yeah,
but
relatively so. Better than what they'll do in the future.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not going to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, finally, if you're wondering what the conference commissioners make, the former Pac-12 commissioner, George Kliavkoff, made $6.1 million, including $5 million in severance pay.
Pretty good for killing a league.
And killing a league and getting fired, essentially. Jim Delaney, former Big Ten commissioner, $5.8 million, including $2.8 million in deferred compensation. Brett Yormark, Big 12, makes $5.6. Greg Sankey, if I'm his agent, I'm on the phone. $4.8 million.
Bargain.
Jim Phillips, $4.7 million. So how about that? The top 2 commissioners get paid essentially right now, as it were, 4th and 5th. The Big Ten commissioner, Tony Petitti, $4.5 million. And Teresa Gould, the new Pac-12 commissioner, is making a paltry $1.4 million. So there you go. We'll just give you the analyzation of the Big 12. Big 12, $117.9 million increase. Big 12 added Colorado, Arizona State, Utah from the Pac-12, which led to an increase fueled by deals with ESPN and Fox. Television contract revenue increased $295 million in fiscal 2024 to $336 million in fiscal 2025. Postseason bowl revenue also increased from $110 million in fiscal 24 to $192 million in fiscal 25. And there you have it. It is crazy because, let me hearken you back to the Big East days. We were sitting in here talking about revenue distribution in the Big East when it was in its heyday.
Yeah.
When it was in its heyday. What was it, 15?
Yeah, that may
around
be a little
12,
high.
12,
yeah.
I think, maybe. Sticks in my brain.
No, you're right. Well, and we'll hear from West Virginia Athletic Director Ren Baker here soon, but one of the things that he talked about is the increase in WVU's athletic department budget, which obviously is fueled in not large part, but in a healthy chunk by the conference payouts. West Virginia just a few years ago, their budget was $100 million. Now, that was pretty good. Now it's $150. Now they've had to do some things to get there because that includes revenue sharing, output, and expenses and things like that. But still, in just a few years, it's grown by 50% and then jumped up that much. But there are a lot that are in that ballpark. Unfortunately, West Virginia isn't at the top because we know money makes the world go around in this day and age.
Yeah, it's just it's baffling to think that if you would have gone back to those years in the Big East and said, well, you know what, one day West Virginia will make $74 million on conference payout, we'd all be sitting here thinking, well, the Coliseum roof is going to be coated in gold.
Yeah,
but it's unfortunately the expenses have moved, everything, the costs have moved. Travel certainly is now a massive cost that's incurred.
Sure. Well, and then you add $20.5 million off the top,
correct,
in revenue sharing that you didn't have to incur even a couple of years ago. So, yeah, you're making way more, but you're also spending way more. Isn't that the way? I mean, most athletic departments, and again, you listen to Ren because some of his stuff is very interesting, but he says there's just a handful of athletic departments that aren't losing money, despite the fact you're having all these record incomes.
Well, they all, we've seen them, and they all look the same, and that is they've got one revenue generator, and, it's football.
Yeah, maybe a little bit from basketball, men's basketball. But everything else is losing money, and that's the world. I mean, but those expenses are crazy.
They are. All right, 7:02. What did the Mountaineers have to say following last night's 9-0 defeat at the hands of the Kansas Jayhawks? Well, you don't have to wait any longer. We'll let you know. Steve Sabins and Ian Korn met with the media following the game last night.
First of all, just congratulations to Kansas. Great team. They had a great season so far, and they played really well. Tight ball game, 2-run ball game going into the 7th. Unraveled a little bit in the 7th. Korn had an incredible outing after some relief work on the first game of the tournament to be able to bounce back and give what he gave to the team in a really tight ball game was incredible. We had a lot of offensive opportunities. Left on base number has to be really high for the Mountaineers tonight. We had 10 guys left on base, just a ton of opportunities potentially to crack that thing open and take a lead, and weren't able to do it tonight. Kids gave us everything they had. We hadn't had a ton of luck in the last few years at Globe Life, so to come out here for the first time hosting this tournament, which was a great venue and awesome people and logistically ran fantastic, to clip off a couple wins was great for our program, and I think secured a hosting spot for us if I had to guess. So really good tournament. Not the outcome that we want, certainly, but proud of the guys.
We'll begin with questions right here.
Kevin Kendra with the Blue and Gold News. Coach, you mentioned the opportunities. The bases loaded in the 7th, short pop-up. Was there a decision go, no-go there? Was that a missed thing? And then once that happened, that looks like something that you practiced to, distraction, trying to draw the rundowns and maybe get a run on there. But I guess the first part was a decision to go, no-go and hold him up.
Yeah, that's more on the player. So like pretty shallow fly ball, and so it's really a good idea to try to break from third base to draw a throw, essentially. So once he throws the ball, you can read it, and if it were to hit off the catcher or to airmail the catcher or go to the backstop, you could potentially score there. Sean may have been a little too aggressive down the line. Gravline was at second base and really was trucking to third base. So appropriate base running there would be try to draw the throw, see that it's on line, shut it down. The man on second needs to go back to second base. But in that emergency situation, yeah, we have practiced that. It's essentially make sure that there's two base runners on the base secured and the trail guy to go back to the base, and ended up working out in our favor in that moment, but not a designed offensive play, more of a we're in a bad spot, how do we get out of it? And we did, which was really fortunate, and that was a missed opportunity for Kansas in that moment, and it kind of felt like, okay, we just got out of a major jam there that we created for ourselves with bases loaded. So you're envisioning a double here to clear them is how you win a ball game and win a title. Didn't happen today for us, but certainly had those opportunities.
Coach Jamie Booker, 24/7 Sports. You already mentioned the 10 men left on base, just one of 9 with runners and scoring positions tonight. What was it about those key moments that maybe you want to see happen a little bit in the next
Yeah, there's just a lot of factors, and you can only control what you can control, and so we just don't talk about it. Some of those uncontrollable things, but you want to see guys be aggressive. You want to see them challenge the fences on every swing, and so only the player in the moment really knows. Sometimes in those situations, really tight ball game, men in scoring position, man on third, less than 2, you can try to feel for the ball or the pitch. You can try so hard to get one run in instead of just taking balanced, aggressive swings and hitting doubles and homers. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Sometimes you play a 9 p.m. game on the West Coast with 3-hour time difference, and you're across the country. Emotional win on an Arizona State game 2. You stay up till 3 a.m. and your body clock wakes you up at 6, and you're running on fumes and 3 hours of sleep. Sometimes your legs aren't under you too. So I can't tell you exactly why, but it's probably a mixture of both those things in reality. Is a long series, different weather here, a little bit hotter, time zone change. Sometimes players are human, and that stuff can catch up to you too. So we don't talk about that as a team because it don't help you concentrating on the things you can't control. But there is mind over matter to a certain point, and then there's the physical component of this game as well.
Andrew Hazlett, it's Ian for you. What was it in your preparation from pitching 2 days ago in the bullpen to starting tonight?
Yeah, it's just making sure I'm recovered, hydrating, sleep. Like he mentioned, we're on a different time schedule here, so taking those things as the priority is very, very important. And when you're in the playoffs like this, you do anything possible to be ready for your team. So I knew after Thursday I was going to be ready for Friday, and if not Friday, I would be ready for Saturday. So mentally, it's just coming out here, and I'm going to be ready for the team no matter what it takes.
Andy and both of you, really, just from now until the start of the regional, what are the priorities for West Virginia baseball?
Great question. And usually after the series, you're on the plane and you really start mapping out that week. Like, what does that look like? How much rest time, sim games? What do we need to do to be ready essentially for Friday? We need to take some time to rest and recover, but probably the priority is getting back from a time zone perspective. And so not letting guys sleep all day or stay up till 4 a.m. and probably having some structure when it comes to like eating meals at the right time and being at the field. And that's honestly probably the priority. That needs to start happening like tomorrow morning. So maybe wear it a little bit and be out of whack for maybe a couple days, but just get on routine again and start getting guys on routine, have some good practices, a few dudes that haven't thrown to make sure that they have some sim games or some bullpens. But a lot of these guys were worked pretty hard, so probably rest and recovery is a priority. Enjoy each other. There's no school. We're going to hear our name called to be in a regional at the minimum, and so just excited for the team to enjoy each other this time of year. It's the best time of year.
Coach, Kansas kind of won this game the way you all won so many games this year. Didn't make mistakes, took advantage of a couple. And I'm thinking of last night's game, we had a rough outing from one relief pitcher, but overcame that. Tonight, the mistakes, like you say, kind of snowballed and had the home runs or whatever. How fine is that line, and do you use that to talk to your players and say, look, in the sixth inning it was 2-0 or whatever it was. You were still in that game with a chance to win.
For sure, and we mentioned that just way closer than the score would indicate. The only thing that can ever chap my ass in just about any situation with our team is if there's a play or there's a defensive play or a base running play that I don't believe would happen if it was a tie ball game to win the title, right? So it's more about the effort, the concentration, the focus. You're trying to hold on to that for 9 innings, every pitch, regardless of the score. That's hard to do with young people when you're down 8 and you feel like something slipped through your fingers and you might be you had a chance to win a title. That's hard to do for those guys. But that's really the challenge. Every day when you show up to the yard, you turn the scoreboard off and you play every pitch of every game. And that's why we've won a bunch of games. And that's why if this was a series, we would have won this series this weekend. Our team's been great at that. That's the thing that I'm not willing to compromise on. I'm a pretty flexible guy. That's the stuff that really matters. to me. We've just played really clean baseball, and we pitched at a really high level. And sometimes the ups and downs of the season, it's like being the hottest team sometimes isn't the most sustainable either. So like we played great baseball and we finished the season really strong this year, and now you go into the biggest games of the season, right? The biggest game's always the one in front of you. And so if we get an opportunity to host a regional and we got 5,000 fans in a sold out stadium with crazy West Virginians, that's going to be the best and most fun electric atmosphere in the country. So it's all ahead of you. So you hope that maybe that game allows us to have the best week of practice from a concentration and focus standpoint. So you want guys to be like, well, that didn't taste very good. I don't like that. I don't want that to happen again, right? And so you hope that it motivates people to be better in those areas and to have better at-bats and take care of their body and do all the things necessary to go win a regional. And we've done that 2 years in a row, and so the guys know what it takes to do that.
And Ian, you mentioned your recovery. We're doing that to being ready to pitch and to go again. This is kind of new ground for you. Just, hey, you may start, you may relieve. Does that change anything that you do? Do you talk to the athletic trainers on the field, once the pitching coaches, and change your approach, your workload going to next weekend?
No, I wouldn't say it changes much. Maybe we pay more attention to the recovery part of it with the trainers. Maybe I do a little bit more soft tissue here and there. But my goal is to do my best for the team, no matter what role it is, no matter what situation. So whether that takes me starting on a Saturday game for a title or pitching on a midweek this year, like it doesn't matter. And I'm going to do anything possible with our trainers, with our coaches to communicate and make sure we're ready to go.
Last question.
For you just mentioned being ready to go in whatever role you're asked. You've had a lot of success regardless of roles that you've been asked to fill this year. You made the jump from D2 to D1, had a lot of success. What do you credit that success to, and how do you feel you've developed as a player this year?
Attention to detail. Post Tommy John surgery my sophomore year, I was able to focus on the little details, from recovery to nutrition to mechanics, whatever it was. Ever since that surgery, I've been able to pay more attention to what really matters, and that's going out there and being a great teammate, doing whatever you can possible to go out there and perform for your team. And today, looking at the stats, there was 2 strikeouts. So, our defense played a crazy game. And I credit that the last 2 years at my old school and here. Our defense does a really good job of keeping us in games and making big time plays. So everything goes into that. It's not just myself doing the job. It takes everybody.
All right, Steve Saban's Ian Korn following the Mountaineers' loss in the Big 12 championship game last night to Kansas. Again, brackets for the hosts, or at least the host sites, will be announced 8:30 tonight on the NCAA socials. We'll take a break. We come back. Ren Baker met with the media, state of the athletic department from this past week. We'll listen into a healthy portion of that when we return.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
I'm Sergeant R.A. Marsh.
And this is Trooper Goodman with the West Virginia State Police.
When working traffic across West Virginia, responding to crashes involving death or injury is the toughest part of our job.
Around here, we're experts at survival, so we know the importance of buckling up.
When you don't buckle up,
you increase your risk of dying in a crash.
Why do we enforce seatbelt laws?
It's not about writing tickets, it's about saving lives.
Come on, West Virginia, we can do this. Please, always buckle up.
A message from the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
By the way, I'm really happy to talk about this as opposed to Ryan's opinion that being a sports fan is a bad thing.
He said that it kept him from being stressed about it, not that it was a bad thing, that they didn't have the stress. And, I mean, I've seen you pace.
Yeah, you're only 30 and you look like that.
So true.
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on MetroNews Television.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
What does it mean to lead in medicine? J.W. Ruby Memorial Hospital is the top hospital in West Virginia, nationally recognized for 3 programs and 18 procedures and conditions. But to us, leadership means being first in care, in lives saved, in lives restored. In medicine, we lead in the ways that truly matter.
All right, 717. Thanks for checking in. 304 Talk 304 on the Sunday night. Ren Baker on deck. Text first. Hey, guys, I don't like watching baseball. I'm a Pirates fan, so I've had a reason to watch in 36 years. Have had no reason to watch in 36 years. I love watching the Mountaineers because they make the plays to beat them, and Kansas did last night. They made all the plays last night, so let's give Kansas some credit and operate the Mountaineers. Absolutely. Good point. Sometimes you got to credit the opponent. All right, Ren Baker, what's up with the latest from the athletic department?
For our athletic year to date, we've had a ton of really strong accomplishments by our teams. 8 NCAA team qualifiers, 2 conference championships, women's basketball and rifle. Rifle won their 21st national championship. 7 All-Americans, 25 All-Conference selections, 10 NCAA individual qualifiers, and as you all know, we're still playing here, and we still have some teams that are we hope continue to notch some accomplishments. So currently, we're 4th in the Directors Cup out of the Big 12 teams and 34th nationally. So I think that speaks to the success that our teams are having. Maybe more importantly, or certainly more importantly, in terms of life, academically, we continue to set records and do well. 991 APR matches our all-time highest score. 96% graduation rate, which was the second highest in the Big 12, and I believe that was tied for our highest. Is that correct? And then our department-wide GPA was 3.43, 112 academic All-Americans. I've talked to you all before about how important I think it is for us to bring economic dollars into our city and state and community, and also to promote tourism throughout the state, which I've been a big proponent of, just what a great place this is to come and vacation and spend time. And so we have hosted 3 NCAA regionals already: men's soccer, women's soccer, women's basketball, and we're hoping that we add a 4th to that with baseball, but that's to be determined. If we do host 4, that'd be the most we've ever hosted. So that brings a lot of people into this city, brings a lot into the state, fills motel rooms, fills restaurants, So those are all good things for the local economy and the state's economy. Hosted the women's basketball for the first time since '92, so we're very excited about that as well. And if you had a chance, and most of you probably did cover it, incredible environment and just great for our women's basketball program, but women's basketball in this state. Golden Blue Enterprises, Don Robinson continues to build out a team and to build that organization out. They're doing a lot to help promote NIL and give opportunities to our student athletes to grow commercial revenue. So that continues to be a focus of ours. We're going to actually add to Don's team so that we have more boots on the ground in that area. We announced the addition of premium seating in the Coliseum. I've talked about how if we're going to grow our revenues, how important that is. And so that project's being done this summer. Fans have asked for those premium experiences, and that's really important. And then you all have seen renderings and some information on the West Press Box Tower project. And that is going very well. We're quietly doing the fundraising for that, but I would just tell you that it has gone extremely well. I'll talk a little bit more about fundraising in general, and I anticipate that there will be updates there over the course of the summer heading into the fall. But if all goes well, that project will be completed and open in time for the 28 football season. If it's not, Rob Alsop's here. You guys can blame him, but we feel pretty good about that. So I think we're doing well, and our facilities team, Rob, our fundraising team, all of those people deserve a lot of credit for how fast that project has moved forward. Lastly, I'll just talk about growing our revenue. So for about a decade, our overall budget was fairly static. It grew some, regressed some during COVID, but it did not grow at the clip that we really need it to. And so this year's budget and next year's budget will both exceed $150 million total. And so that's probably roughly 50% growth from where we were 3 years ago. And so that's taken a lot of people to do that, and a lot of people at home have contributed to that. Our MAC members, right now we're right at 7,000. The all-time high is 8,000. So we're in the middle of a Membership Matters campaign, and we're going to try and eclipse that 8,000 number, and we need your help to do it from the people at home. So get your neighbor, get your friend, get the person that's by you at church or at your kids' games this summer to join the MAC. That's really important. All time prior to this year, we had 4 gifts of $5 million or more. We already have 3 inside this fiscal year, with I think 4 more that are verbal that we're trying to get across the finish line. So 2009 prior to this year was our best fundraising year ever. I think our second best was 2 years ago. And we will surpass that this year. It's just a matter of how much. But I think this is going to by far and away be our best fundraising year ever. So we're very thankful and very excited about that. There are challenges ahead, as you all read, and you know. I sat here a year ago and was very hopeful that we had a system coming that had guardrails and regulations that we could plan for. And that has not really materialized. We're still in an environment where the resources need to compete from a roster standpoint, change in real time. Many times I start the day off with, whether it's Rob or Don or Ben, talking through where we need to be, where we're trying to go, and that number only goes one direction. So that's not a problem that's just West Virginia specific. That's nationally. Everybody is struggling to kind of stay where they need to. But we have been able to find a way to better position ourselves each of the last 3 or 4 years. And I think going into this year, we feel the best we've ever felt in terms of the resources and where our teams rank inside the Big 12. And so we're excited to see that play out on the field and on the court and all those things. And then I'll just say this, very, very blessed to have a board of governors, a chair in Rusty Hudson, who are very committed to athletics, very supportive, a great fan base who wants what's best for WVU, and a tremendous president. Mike Benson's been a great partner, great asset, and really has been a blessing. I did see where he attended all 9 commencements. I've been doing this 20 years, and most of the time they divide and conquer those commencements. So I believe he shook well over 3,000 hands, so I hope his immune system was strong going into that exercise. But Mike's a worker, and he's been a great asset for us, and we're very thankful to have him here at WVU. And then I'll just close by saying we just finished our caravan tour, and a lot of people have stopped doing those. It does take a lot of time, and the coaches' calendars and schedules have become so crowded because of just the way that recruiting works and the way that rosters are turning over. But we think it's still really important, and that gets validated when we go out on the road. There's always great attendance, great enthusiasm, and really you pick up a lot of energy as you go out and see people and see how excited they are for the Mountaineers. So with that, we'll open for questions.
So, Ren, go back to some of the national questions that you talked about. It's sort of when you talk to your colleagues, what's it like? Because it was supposed to have guardrails, as you said, but it seems like those are ignored, and the numbers just seemingly grow at an exponential rate. So, what do you guys talk about? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a lot of frustration. And most people that are in the trenches understand that it's not sustainable. And so I see people sometimes write stories about a market that will regulate itself, and I don't think they fully understand college athletics, where there's not real ownership. It's a bureaucratic organization. Most of the institutions are state institutions, but there's not an owner, nor is there dividends or a board of directors who who are making sure that you're giving the shareholders their value, so to speak. And so what we do have is a ton of influencers. Everybody cares, and you all know it because you cover this team in this state. There are no pro teams. We are the state's pro team. And so there's huge pressure to find a way to make sure that your teams have what they need to compete. And that doesn't always lead to sound and prudent financial decisions. And once one person does something, then it becomes a cascading domino effect of pressure on everybody else to try to match that. And so you're starting to see people have to make some really hard decisions, cutting sports, the quality of the experience, even if you didn't cut the sports, what kind of experience are those student athletes getting? The investment that is required from the central institution, from campus proper, into athletics. And where does that money come from? How is that money accounted for? And so it is frustrating. I believe at some point there will be a system put in place that's more sustainable. It's just how much collateral damage has to happen before we get there. But inside the walls of our department, we really try to take an approach of being positive and understanding that we don't get to determine how the world is when it comes to athletics. We just have to operate and be our best. And it's not always, comparison is the thief of joy. It's not always school A has this, so we have to have this. It is what are our goals, what are our priorities, and how can we be the best version of ourselves. But, yeah, Greg, it's frustrating, especially a year ago you thought you were on the path of having a system. And, you really have two issues, and we wrestle with both of them all the time. How do you get the money? And then you got to get the money in the hands of the student athletes in a way that's going to pass through CSC and those things. And so we spend a lot of time trying to do it right here. Huge credit to our staff that spends a lot of time doing that. And the hope is that at some point we can all come together and agree on a system that is fair for everybody.
Are you currently in favor of or against the SCORE Act as you understand it currently exists?
I'm supportive of the SCORE Act, supportive of what I know of the Senate bill that's being talked about. I'm supportive of anything that defines the rules of engagement in a way that everybody understands and must adhere to. And so I've always, from the day I took this job, I've talked about, I think there should have been more benefit to student athletes, especially those in the revenue sports. But you cannot have a totally open system with kind of unrestricted free agency at all times, more or less, and think that that's going to be sustainable in a higher education setting.
Follow up. Whatever the legislation is, SCORE Act, CSC, NCAA replacement, whatever, can any of these exist or succeed without an ironclad buy-in from all the schools that say they're going to operate under it?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great question. I was a middle school principal for a year. I was at 26 years old. I was the youngest principal I believe in state history in Oklahoma. I was the athletic director for the entire school at my alma mater, a K-12 school. Probably K-12 had around 1,000 students, but I was principal of the middle school. And what my takeaway was is everybody loves discipline until it's their child. And I feel like we're that way in college athletics. Everybody wants rules and a system and enforcement for everybody but themselves. And I actually said this on one of our AD calls the other day. It just feels like we're all sitting at a giant table playing poker, and as long as somebody's sitting there thinking they may have the best hand, they're just going to keep up in the ante and trying to force other people out of the game. And so it's how long do you want to stay? In? So I do think some type of federal help is probably your best bet. If not that, it's riddled with pitfalls, but maybe employment has to be vetted out and explored in a more meaningful way. But I saw a story yesterday that there might be some, and I think it's a minority, but inside the SEC and Big Ten that are talking about should we break away. I mean, there's no evidence that would fix anything. We come up with the Autonomy 4 to get the ability to do legislation in the NCAA without everybody's involvement. That didn't solve it. This settlement, while the court decided certain aspects of it, the autonomy conferences and really the Big Ten and SEC led the way, and their in-house counsel and outside counsel set a lot of those rules of engagement, and we're not even a year into it. And so I just don't know that whatever that breakaway is, if there's not a commitment from whatever segment of schools it would be to actually abide by the rules, I don't know how that really fixes any of the ails that we're experiencing. So, I think people are a little bit at a loss for the best way to rein it in, but I think federal legislation is probably your best bet. That'd be my guess.
All right, listening in to Ren Baker's press conference on the state of the athletic department. We'll have more with Ren from this past week. When we come back, Sportsline continues in a moment.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond. You missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Oh, you did not.
Oh, I did. Told you I was a little grumpy today.
Oh, man, you got some zingers today, Dave. I love it.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talkline. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at wvmetronewstv.com.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at wvhtf.org.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
All right, welcome back. Sportsline continues. Back to Ren Baker addressing the media this past week.
Oh, okay. Ren, it's funny you mentioned the tourism money being brought in. I was listening to last year's talk, and you mentioned that too, and how important it was. And I was wondering how you weigh that against neutral field games, as far as, I mean, rather than having a home game and bringing that in, is it just purely dollars and TV, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all factors. It is, we always look at, when we get a neutral site opportunity, there's a baseline number of games we expect to play in Morgantown, and are we hitting that? So I would say it's pretty non-negotiable that we've always won at least 6 games here in Morgantown for football, for instance. We'd really like to have 7. But if you're given an opportunity to play the right opponent, and the financials make sense, and it's in a place where you're trying to engage donors and alums. So, you know, we've made an emphasis, the Charlotte area, for instance. That's always a place where we do really well. And so that's a place where, you know, we really have tried to plant a flag. in terms of being there. I think you want to do what's right by the state and community, but certain neutral site games give you an opportunity to draw revenue, to hit a broader audience, to play an opponent that maybe doesn't have the opportunities in their schedule to do 2 games, and so you're doing 1. And then, I think the other aspect that plays into that now is the NIL opportunities. Some of those games present an NIL opportunity for the athletes on your roster, and as you're trying to grow that above cap revenue, that's part of the conversation as well. And then just lastly, when you look at things like net scores and RPIs and all of those metric systems, some of those neutral site games are a good compromise, especially in basketball, because you don't get hit as hard in a negative way if you lose it at home as you do and then conversely, if you win a neutral game, it's worth more than winning a game at home. So it just, you kind of mitigate the loss a little bit, and you inflate the win by playing it at a neutral site. So a lot of times when you throw that into the equation, it just becomes overall weighing those factors the best decision.
Down here in front, Keenan.
Ren, any update on any potential more naming rights, particularly Mountaineer Field or any other arenas?
I would just say that no imminent update on that, but we continue to explore every opportunity to bring in revenues. So, whether that's sponsor patches, whether that's naming of facilities, certainly continuing to try to raise money the traditional way. All of those opportunities to grow revenue, we stay focused on. But I think I've been honest that I believe, given our presence in the state, that when we do a deal like that, it needs to be the right partner that has the right values, that we collectively can agree on how we want our brands branded and commingled. And so we're exploring all of that in an effort to grow revenue.
Spencer.
Ren, what do you think of NCAA basketball tournament expanding and then potential college football 2014 playoff and the removal of the Big 12 championship and title games?
So I think most of you know that I coached basketball early on. I got my start into the industry on the basketball side, so love college basketball. I think the NCAA tournament's the most special thing that we have. It captivates the entire nation. I would say I want to see how the expansion actually works and affects the tournament and evaluate it. I would hope that we're all willing to evaluate it after a year or two and see the impact. But, what you had is, as things have changed and rosters are more transient and power conference teams have more resources, there's more talent being aggregated in those power conferences. As somebody who's worked at virtually every level of college athletics, I would not be in favor of pulling AQs away from the mid-major leagues. I think that's part of what makes the tournament special, because everybody that goes to the conference tournament goes with the hope that they can catch lightning in a bottle, be Cinderella, and play in the big dance. And the fact that you have everybody kind of represented and engaged, I know not everybody takes every team to the conference tournament, but most people take the majority of their teams. I just think that's a special part of it, and that every Division I student athlete should start the basketball season with the hope that they could play in the big dance. But I think there were conversations around, are those the best teams, especially as the talent is congregating more to the higher resourced leagues. And so I think this was a compromise. Let's expand the field. Everybody keeps their AQs. it's undetermined who those additional at-larges will go to, but you guys have probably seen the studies. The vast majority of them end up going to power conference teams. And so I think the expansion was done in an effort to try to appease all sides of that equation, and let's just see how it works and how it's evaluated. But generally, I'm in favor of opportunities for young people, and so you add more teams, you give more young people opportunities.
Does that go the same for the college football playoff?
Yeah, college football playoff I think is a little different because there's right now that's a relatively small field, and so I do think it needs to be enlarged just for representation generally. I think there are teams being left out who could win games and perhaps advance to the championship. What the right number is, I don't know that I'm sure. I think I'd want to see how are we going to divvy up the additional revenue, and how does that selection process work. But I would say generally I'm in favor of expansion. And if the number is 16, if the number is 24, I don't know that I'm dug in on a certain number. I also think the opportunities to host those games on campuses. I was, as I mentioned earlier, the environment for the women's basketball regional was electric. I mean, absolutely electric. Just a buzz from well before the game ever started. I was thinking, man, can you imagine what it would be like hosting a college football playoff game here in Morgantown? And so, I think those opportunities for campuses, there's something special about the pageantry of having those events on campus. So I think giving more people those opportunities is a good thing. But, you have to take the calendar into account. The wear and tear on players' bodies, what's going to happen to championship games, when do you start the season, when do you conclude, portals. There's so many other things to be worked out in there. So that's why I leave a little bit of wiggle room to say I'd like to know more of the details as we get there, but definitely favor expansion.
John?
About the West Tower, and obviously is there the excitement of the silent campaign and the fundraising part, and then there's 28 when you're going to be in it. What about the transition between? How much have you guys got into that? Have you looked at Penn State, what they did? What have you done as far as that goes?
Yeah, so April Messerly, who's over our facilities team, and she works very closely with Rob, and then they work closely with our architects and other outside consultants. But they are looking at that and exploring those options. Early on, there are some temporary structures that could be erected that could, have certain parts of the game day in there, because we would start potentially the demolition after this upcoming football season. If it opens in 28, that leaves 27. And I think we would look at where can we build some temporary suites in the stadium so that people are not displaced totally, and that, to be completely candid, it allows us to keep the revenue, not go a year without revenue. We're trying to do that in a way where, hey, let's also do a test run for maybe future additional premium seating. So if this goes well and people like it, we may add that as a permanent element later. So exploring a lot of those. Not quite there yet in terms of what that looks like and where we'd put all those structures, but definitely plan to do some temporary accommodations for some of our best donors and business supporters.
Cody Hesper.
Yeah, Brent, just your thoughts on the private equity deal Commissioner Yormark signed and the line of credit that's been offered to the schools.
Yeah, so there's really kind of three parts to that deal. One was the conference got an investment of capital to take on new revenue-generating opportunities. So by way of example, the commissioner has explored virtual signage on some of the broadcasts. So you all that watch a lot of pro sports know they come down and there's an advertisement on the court or on the pitch and then they go back and it's a different advertisement. Well, that's not a real advertisement. That's just planted there through technology on the TV. It's virtual, and so could that be something that we do? But the investment in that costs quite a bit. So you're either asking us to take dilution or take that off of our distribution, or at a time when we're desperate for resources. So I think those are the kind of things that he will explore. The second phase of that really incentivizes Redbird, who has their hands in a lot of different entities in and around sports in general, but also businesses, to help us find additional partners, whether that's major sponsors at the league level, and so they have some skin in that game. The third part was the line of capital available to institutions. And listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with optionality. It's always good to have that. We don't plan to exercise that at this time, primarily because if we were to need capital for a project like the West Tower project, we could get that at a more affordable interest rate. And if we are taking that out to cash flow annual expenses because we're upside down, it's really kind of like a payday loan. We're going to have to start paying that loan back, and if you don't have a clear line of sight on additional revenue, you're just making the pain hurt worse on down the road. So, but again, it is good to have optionality, and I commend our commissioner for always, like, there's not one day where he's not thinking about some new thing to try to do or introduce, and so I think that's a good thing for the league.
Front here, Mike Austin.
So, obviously, as you mentioned in your open, the Olympic sports, the non-revenue sports, are experiencing some of their greatest success in history, and ironically, it is happening during a period that the football, men's basketball teams are not. Going into now year 2 with Rich Rodriguez and now year 2 with Ross Hodge, and experiencing a different level of success for both, what do you now need to see actually produced on the court, on the field? Win-loss record has to eventually matter to make it where you feel the increased investment that Rich Rod's been open, that he had more money to play with this past year, which our recruiting was better than when he first got there, to make all that worthwhile. Because there has to be a point, I'd imagine, that if you're doing all this legwork to invest more, you can't go 4-8 again and say that it's because of whatever reason.
So I'll take that as kind of two questions and give two separate and distinct answers, although I recognize they're probably can be commingled a little bit. The first one, we're having success in a lot of our sports that are not the big revenue producers. And I think what you're getting at is that coming at the expense of the two revenue producing sports, or should some of those resources be diverted to those two? And I think it's a compelling and interesting question. Yeah. I mean, we have to make those evaluations every day, and we have those discussions. I believe that we don't have to pick or choose that. And if you look at, so here's the approach that we've taken with those Olympic sports. We went to campus and we said, hey, we are your biggest customer in terms of a single payer by far. We pay a significant tuition bill. We are in a state, population-wise, that's smaller and therefore produces less blue-chip talent than a lot of other states. And so when I was at the University of North Texas, somewhere between 80 to 90% of our roster every year was in-state. And so here that is flipped, okay? And so that out-of-state bill is really high. And so and campus agreed, I think President Benson, our board, the vice presidents agreed that that's a challenge for us, and that we still care and value all of our sports offerings. And so we basically said, hey, we'll get in-state rate for our athlete population, and we took the savings from that to add scholarships.
All right, Ren Baker speaking to the media this past week. Get about 32 minutes there of an hour he spent with the media, so you can check that out. It's available on our website, WVMetroNews.com. We'll take a break, close it out next.
I'm Sergeant R.A. Marsh.
And this is Trooper Goodman with the West Virginia State Police.
When working traffic across West Virginia, responding to crashes involving death or injury is the toughest part of our job.
Around here, we're experts at survival, so we know the importance of buckling up.
When you don't buckle up,
you increase your risk of dying in a crash.
Why do we enforce seatbelt laws?
It's not about writing tickets, it's about saving lives.
Come on, West Virginia, we can do this. Please, always buckle up.
A message from the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. Your tax dollars helped expand broadband access across West Virginia, and CityNet makes it real. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. So whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Calva Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Calva Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
When you hired me, you were 29. You seemed like you were 50 when you were 29. You were running that thing like a 50-year-old man. All right, we got to go get some tape. Come on, get out of there.
I think I've sort of always been 50, and I think I'm 50 now.
Yeah, me too.
That's
me too.
a great point.
Join Tony Caridi, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
All right, we're out of here on this Sunday night. Happy Memorial Day. Everybody be safe out there tomorrow. Hope you have fun and a productive day off if you're off tomorrow. And again, special thanks to all of our troops on this Memorial Day weekend. Mountaineers 30 minutes away. We'll find out if they're hosting again Friday in Morgantown, which is when the games will begin. NCAA socials, we'll post those out. We'll have it for you immediately at WVMetroNews.com. Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you again next Sunday.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the Metro News Radio Network. All rights reserved.